Welcome to Thinking Upgrade, unlocking your mindset potential to accelerate your success in business and in life. And today I am excited to introduce to you Dr. Noor Ali. She is a doctor who is she's a Bangladesh American doctor, medical doctor from New York City, and she is determined to bridge the gap between her patients and health insurance services. She's got an amazing story. She does all this through education, information, and she offers consultations. I'm going to let her tell you about that. But the reason I brought her on today was we met on LinkedIn, and I was just really impressed with how she's running her business and the fact that she's got a little one at home, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about that. So and get started. So welcome, Dr. Noor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim, for that gracious introduction. I'm excited for the opportunity to be here. Thank you again.
You are quite welcome. So I want everybody to hear about you and what it is you do. So tell us a little bit about let's start with your business.
Sure, yeah. So my business practice in the States is health insurance consulting for small business owners and entrepreneurs. And I really focus on those in the growth stage. So not in the startup stage where you're just either, acquiring capital or your revenue isn't that great. My focus is on the growth stage when you're growing rapidly, maybe even hiring one or two people. Essentially, you're making too much money to qualify for any government subsidies. That's when health insurance plans can look similar to mortgage payments on a house. So that's where I can come in and offer some alternative solutions. I like to work with medically underwritten health insurance plans, and it's a wonderful solution for that growing entrepreneur.
That is wonderful. And you have such a unique background too, as far as insurance agents. So I'd love for you to kind of dive into that a little bit and then maybe how you got to do what you're doing now.
Yeah, sure. So I am a medical doctor and surgeon from Bangladesh. I went to med school abroad right out of high school. And when I finished my training back there and I came back to the States, I really struggled with my medical career. And this is a story that is shared by many, many foreign medical professionals like myself. And I wasn't seeking a career in health insurance, but something that fell into my lap. And now the more I think about it, the more I put myself into it, it's just one positive after the other. And I really found a way to marry my clinical background to helping people with insurance and really building a business and a brand around it. So it's not something that I sought out, but I just stumbled upon it and I've just made it my career.
Okay. I love that. And I'd love for you to share, because we talked about this before, kind of your why behind it and your family life and what's going on there. Because I think so many entrepreneurs, business owners, like that's a common, could be an obstacle, also could be motivation, depending on how you look
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah, my why, and I just, gained clarity on this more in the past 2 years, is really to be more present with my son. And it seems a little counterintuitive to go into business, to start a business from scratch, to be home more. But really, that's the main goal is how do I build myself up to a stage where the times that I'm home with my family and I'm spending time with my son, I can give him my full attention without needing to be somewhere else or having to trade my time for money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could see how that could even play just an important role in relating to the people that you're talking to and that you're reaching out to, because you target women. Am I
Yes.
correct in that?
Yes, yes. So before I didn't used to. It was very like, I can help anyone and everyone who are, growth phase small business owners. And it wasn't, it didn't align. It didn't seem right. It was difficult to sell because the conversations I was having, I wasn't relating to. And then more after becoming a mom and just really getting more clarity and defining what I want, who I want to work with, I realized that working with other female own businesses, mompreneurs like myself, it's just we can relate on so many levels, and they're just like myself. So the conversations we have are just on a deeper level of relating, sharing stories about motherhood, and it's just so easy. It just feels like more deeper, meaningful connections. So yes, of course, I can work with males and females, but I just love working with mompreneurs like myself.
Yeah, yeah. It shows. I mean, because whenever you talk about it, you light up. You can
Yeah.
totally see it, and that narrowing in who you want to work with is so completely important. And I know that when we talked before, one of the things we talked about is we had a similar target or audience. Because I work with men also, but I also work with a lot of women that are business owners and entrepreneurs. And it wasn't until I really narrowed that down, and I know you know this, when I was able to narrow that down who they were, and they are a lot like me too. I It's been a while since I've been a new mother, but those things, it just made such a big difference when you can narrow down who you want to help and how you want to help them.
Yes, absolutely. Agree. It's been a game changer. It's been awesome.
Yes. Yes. So, tell me a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about your business. So I know you help women entrepreneurs. Let's just dive into a little bit more about um, what makes you different. So, what makes you? I'll put you on the spot a little bit. What makes you
Yeah.
different?
I would say the first thing is going to be the most obvious thing is you do not need to go to medical school and have 29 years of education like I have to do what I do at this stage. And that's okay. And that took me a long time to accept and overcome. It at first it felt like, like this is stupid. Like, why did I go to all these schools? Because my peers and colleagues, they're doing what I'm doing, and they certainly don't have as many degrees and certifications and licenses that I do. But then later, I really learned to change my mindset around that and flip that into a positive and say, well, this is what makes me super unique. And, I'm the one that you want on your side. So basically, as a medical doctor and a global public health practitioner, I've seen what the health insurance struggles are from a provider standpoint, from a patient standpoint, and observed it from a very unique lens. In addition, having that global experience and understanding healthcare systems on a systemic level also allows me to just get deeper on a scientific level. So because of this deep background I have into this field, I really feel like I'm the most overqualified professional that you can possibly have to help you with your health insurance. But I've learned to really lean into that and market myself using that as my most qualifying attribute.
Well, it is, and honestly, if I mean, I think, I mean, it really sets you apart. It
Yeah,
sets you apart in a huge, huge way. So I love that you embrace that, because not everybody embraces what their gifts are,
yeah.
and we'll go into that in a minute. But a lot of people maybe struggle with what that is. So I'd like to hear a little bit more specifically about your journey. So what has been your biggest struggle? Like, how did you get to where you're at now? Because I do work with, I mean, everybody's got struggles.
Yeah.
And in the work that I do, everyone has a point where they need help, whether they're trying to get to higher levels or whatever it is. Everybody's got that point. So successful people all have to break through these barriers. So what's been your biggest struggle?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I would say my biggest struggle is learning to dominate or excel in a field that I have no experience and no formal education on. My entire educational background has been deep into medical science, biological science, public health, so very, very science focused. So when I decided to open an LLC and have a business and to pursue entrepreneurship, I was completely winging it. And I would say one of my biggest strengths is, I love to read. So when I don't know something, I go deep into research mode. I'm very adept at consuming large amounts of information. Memorizing textbooks is pretty much what I've done my whole life, my whole educational life. So I just really went deep into reading, and I'm a huge fan of reading fiction. I never used to read nonfiction until I started my business, and I'm like, well, now I need to learn how to run a business and do well. So running a business, marketing, those were two of my biggest, once I got the business running, it's like, oh, how do I keep this going? How do I make this grow? So really just all of everything related to the business world, I had to learn from scratch. And I did that by just consuming vast amounts of content and just learning to apply that, which I would say is my biggest skill, which I understand now, is I can just take tons of information, digest it, and then present it in a nice, pretty little package and summarize it and apply it really well. So that's what has helped me to overcome.
That's a huge gift. I hope you recognize it. Like, that is a huge gift, because not everybody is able to do that. I personally think I have that gift as well, to be able to take like really hard information to understand and package it in a way that people can understand it. That's always been something that I've been able to do as well. So we kind of
I
shared
love
that
that. I love
commonality, I
that
think.
we've been able to build a business around it, and how
Right.
incredible is that to build to monetize a skill, and do it on your own terms. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you consider your key to success? What's the biggest thing?
I would say the biggest thing is focusing on one thing at a time,
Mm,
learning to really master it before moving on to something else. That's one, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And the second is really believing in myself, because I took a huge left turn, with this risk. And not everyone, where I come from in the South Asian diaspora and the Asian community, you really have three career options. You're either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Anything outside of that is either not understood and certainly not accepted. So for me to go through this entire journey of medicine and to come out and say, well, this is what I'm going to do now. There's friends and family who still haven't really accepted it. And they're still like, are you sure about this? When are you going to go back to doing medicine? And I just have to roll my eyes and say, no, this is what I'm doing. So for all of those lows and those moments of doubt, I had to be the one to believe in myself and say, nope, even if it looks like I'm failing right now, I'm gonna be winning in the end. And I need to believe in myself first, and I need you to believe in me too. So that was that. And then focusing at one thing at a time, because especially from my experience, when I had so much to learn, there was so much I didn't know, and it was so much to learn. It was like trying to, grab this little piece of information, try to apply it, and that just wasn't working. And so what I needed to do was just focus on, hey, I need to just focus on my framework right now. I need to understand what that is, master it. Once it's done and it's solid, then I can move on to learning about marketing principles. Then I can move on to growth. So I had to really take it at stages at a time and just be very, very fine tune my confidence. And I've got this. This part of my business is solid now. Now I can move on to the next part. And I think building these strong foundations and frameworks gives me so much confidence that, okay, no matter what, I'm not going to fail. It's just upwards and scaling from here.
that's beautiful. And not everybody has that. Like, not
Yeah.
everybody is able to do that. It's really valuable information for business owners. I mean, your own clients, my network as well, to hear that, focusing in, especially in today's world, because we can get so distracted.
Yeah.
And I know when I work with people, a lot of times they're not confident because they've had some past things going on, or relationship problems, or something else, and they're always trying to get to the next thing, and then they're chasing this thing, chasing that thing, and not really getting to a level of what you're describing. Sounds like mastery. Like, you get to a level of mastery and then you move on.
Yes, yes. And that's so hard to do. I mean, one Instagram scroll, you're going to be facing so many new different things that's going to be trying to capture your attention. And you're thinking, oh, crap, I need this for my business. Oh, shit, I need that for my business. And this would be
Right.
helpful too. And then before you know it, you've just gone into so many rabbit holes and you haven't really made any real progress on what you really need for your business. So taking the time to understand what you need, focusing on what is the one thing I'm going to focus on now to take my business to the next level before going into something else, it does require a lot of discipline.
Yes, yes, and not everybody has that right away. That's the thing. I think this is why I wanted to interview you, so that people could see that that is something to really strive for, and that it is possible, because so many business owners struggle with that piece, especially in the beginning.
Hmm.
I feel like for it's not just women, but I think women more so if they're working from home, like, oh, the laundry's there, or whatever that
Oh
I
my
could be
gosh.
doing
Yeah.
instead. That's not always the case, but I think men struggle with it too. I have male clients that, we've talked about, closing down apps that are distracting, and doing one thing at a time, just like you're saying. So keeping your focus is so huge.
I'll
So
share a tip here, Kim. One of the
yes.
most important things I've done, and that's changed my productivity so much,
Uh-huh.
is unsubscribing from every single marketing email possible. So the only things coming into my inbox are task related that requires my response and attention, and it's going to result in something positive, needle moving for my business, as well as turning off all notifications on my phone. So if I need to see something, I will pick up my phone and I will address it, but I don't have any incoming notifications. So those two things have been real game changers and very helpful in productivity and focus.
Yes, those are excellent tips. And I'll further, for someone who may even struggle with like, you've turned everything off on your phone, but you still are in the habit of picking it up.
Yeah.
I will a lot of times leave my phone in another room while
Mm,
I'm focused in doing something, just to further take it away. So it just depends
yeah.
on where you're at, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep.
Yeah, but those were excellent tips to share. So, how has mindset played a role in everything you're doing? Let's dig into that.
Mindset is absolutely everything in everything that I'm doing, and it's incredible how when it clicks, how it clicks. And I'm sure you face this when you have success and breakthroughs with your clients, but it's literally the same thing that you're saying or you're doing, and you just need to see it in a different way. And it's a game changer on all levels. For example, the example that I shared there, where I used to hide behind the fact that I am a medical doctor when I first started doing this, because I felt ashamed. I felt ashamed that I have all of this education and qualification and none of it is needed to really do what I do. So I would hide it. I was like, well, that's not important. That's not relevant to this job. So why should I even bring it up? Until I really embraced it. And I said, well, actually, my background is in fact quite relevant to what I do. And I need to, showcase that. And that's gotten me more credibility and more business. So just that shift, just seeing my credentials in a different way, just changed my entire business model entirely.
Yeah, and that's so wise that you picked up on that. I know, I mean, coaches tend to have coaches. So my my business coach pointed that out to me when I was repackaging. I mean, I had been doing the same thing for a really long time, but I really kind of repackaged it, especially my 4 hour. I had been doing that
Yeah.
for a long time, but to package it and market it in a way that, here I've got this 4 hour rapid result program. And whenever we repackaged it, her pointing out to me my past credentials. Well, you haven't. It's amazing, because I've been a coach for over 10 years, and not really. I wasn't really playing that up. So, and the three different schools that I had gone to for my training.
Hmm.
I wasn't playing that up. So there's different, and at one point, I don't know. I think I saw some of those things, maybe not in a negative light, but I just, like you, I didn't feel like they were really that important. But now
Yeah.
they've become a great asset.
Yeah,
So
yeah. For me,
I
it's
love that.
everything. It's the central point, right, of why your clients come to you is because of, the background that you just mentioned, and it's so impressive. And I'm so glad that I came to that realization, and I did it for myself as well, and it's
Yeah.
been a game changer.
Yeah. And our stories. We don't want to leave out our
Yeah,
stories. I mean, your
that's
unique
right.
story of wanting to be able to stay home with your son, I think is a beautiful, I think people can really relate to that. And and my story is that I always wanted to try, and I was always trying to fix myself, always trying to get to the next level, and I couldn't figure out why, and it took me years and years and years. But now, that's the reason why I created the program that I created, that you don't have to wait. So I think
Yeah.
those stories that we tell are so incredibly important. So, and I love your story. I love the why behind it, and you're really serving a community that needs it. And I think now, just the way things are in the world, like we can be polarized, but being able to bring people together in that way is just so huge.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much. I'm not there yet, but the way I wanted to mention that my life is, because a lot of people ask me about the balance a lot, and it's really, I've made it the center of my brand as well. Like, how do I do it all? How do I maintain a business and keep my clients happy and be a mom and be present for my son, which is my ultimate goal. So if you look at my day, Kim, my days at the office, I am just working. I'm focused on my work, on building my business. In fact, I only see my son just in the morning. I wake him up giving breakfast, and I don't see him at all for the rest of the day. By the time I'm home, he's in bed, so I don't even get to see him, touch him. But my focus is on my business. But the next day, when I am home with my son, my calendar is blocked. I'm not taking any calls. I have nothing on my plate. So I'm focusing just on my son. So if you look at my day a day at a time, it's quite imbalanced. My Mondays is all about work, and I'm not being a mom at all. But if you look at my Tuesdays, it's all about my baby, and I'm just a mom, and I'm not doing business at all. But if you zoom out a little, you'll find that balance, which I find to be what I was seeking. Isn't that what I wanted? And I have it. So hopefully we can get a little bit closer to the goal. But I just wanted to point that out to people. Like, again, shift that mindset and perspective. If you look at my one day, very imbalanced, but if you look at my week, it's quite balanced.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you had the wisdom to figure that out, because when you're there, you're there. Because that's something else I see with people. They don't have that balance. And when people don't have that balance, it creates guilt. So they've got, I mean, it's terrible. And I mean, you're shaking
I'm
your head
getting
like you
goosebumps
said
saying
that.
the word guilt because I feel it all over my body. I
Yeah.
feel that word head to toe, Kim. I feel it every day. And even though I actively try to tell myself that, I don't need to feel this way, who's making me feel this way? It's myself, but I still
Yes.
feel it, unfortunately. No one's pointing a finger and saying that you're a bad mom or you're not good at your business. No one's saying that to me. It's myself and the expectations I put, but it's still, it racks my body because I can relate and I feel that word so much. I remember, what led me to this structure of the schedule or this, figuring out this wisdom that you said is there was a time when just after I had my baby and I was trying to get back into work and, still a breastfeeding mom and just trying to figure it all out and trying to get back into work and build my pipeline and my clients again. Um, the days where I was breastfeeding, I was trying to, do prospecting online, I was trying to watch a webinar to learn or do a course. It was like horrible. I didn't feel like I was being a good mom because I'm looking at a webinar while my kid is crying or, breastfeeding. I'm not paying attention to the webinar because I'm trying to see if my kid's okay. Like, I wasn't being a good mom or a good businesswoman. I was accomplishing absolutely nothing. And it was such a feeling, it was such a stressful feeling to be pulled like that and getting nowhere. I was like, something's got to change. I either need to do this one thing right or do this other thing right because I'm clearly not doing anything good, and it's just giving
Yes.
me like guilty and bad feelings all over.
Yes. And to take that a little bit further, just talking about the psychology of all that, because you're spot on, because a lot of people deal with this. So I think it's important. I'm glad we brought this subject up. But a lot of people they take on things that they shouldn't. So, and sometimes it's because they're people pleasing, or they think they should, or maybe they're distracted, so that the focus that you
Mm,
talked about earlier, they're distracted by other things, and then they don't get everything done that they wanted to accomplish. So then it ends up phase or flowing into their personal life, and then the guilt, it's just a vicious guilt cycle, that really never ends until you can really figure out what it is that's causing it. Like, where is the guilt coming from, and how can you be more focused, or how can you be more
Yeah.
consistent in getting rid of all those distractions, just like you talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, definitely. And it takes a lot of like asking yourself. Like I had to ask myself, what do I really want? And because I get asked to make a choice all the time. Even now, I get asked to make a choice. Like, oh, maybe you should just, stay home or be a mom, or, this is too much for you. Or are you sure you want to, you don't have to work if you don't want to. But I do. I desperately want to be a mom, and I desperately want to have my own business and work. And I want both. So it's up to me to figure out how can I have both without compromising or without being ineffective. And I think that was the biggest trigger. Like I was trying to do both and everything, but I wasn't doing anything actually.
Right. Yes. And I think that's so important for people to realize, that a lot of people are in that mode of
Yeah.
that vicious cycle that we talked about. So I
Yeah.
love this. So, excuse me. So is there any other tips or anything else you would like to share with our audience?
I think we shared a lot of good stuff. I would definitely say take some time to know yourself and think. I think a lot of people, or even us and everyone actually, we're just go go go, and we're trying to do things, but you need to sit and take the time to think, meditate, reflect, understand who you are, what are you trying to do, what is your purpose, and where are you trying to go. Take the time to really flesh that out and then make a plan, because we're all already like chasing a goal, but we haven't really defined the things before the goal. So and I'm deep about planning. I'm a big planner. I rely on my planner a lot. A lot of people use planners, but you don't set aside the time to write in your planner or plan in your planner. And I think that's another big mistake. I'm so glad you have a planner. Did you plan time to sit and use your planner? Because it's not going to work
So
if you don't do
true.
that, right? So, and then you have an empty planner, and the year is gone. You're like, planner sucker, they don't work. Well, you didn't plan time to use your planner. So things like that, like just taking the time to sit and reflect and think things through before you actually execute.
Yes, yes, I love that. I'm actually taking just talking about a side note, taking a
Yeah.
course on learning how to do a CRM right now, and it's time
Okay.
consuming to do
Mm.
all that, to plug all those things in and get things working. But I know when you take the time to plan, you end up with more time.
Yes, yes, exactly. When you don't have a route, you're just like throwing stuff at a wall, and you're not measuring and anything, and it's just you don't even know that you're doing a bad job. That's the worst
Right.
part.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
totally. So, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Sure. Well, I have a website. It's drnoorhealth.com. That's DrNoorHealth.com. You can find information about me there, how to get in touch with me, and I'm super active on social media. My favorite is LinkedIn, and then Instagram is a runner-up. So you'll find me active, posting stuff about my son, about my work. So definitely follow me on all my socials.
Awesome. Awesome. And I will post those links as well in the either the comments or the description, depending on where you're seeing this. I'll post those links as well on here. So I just really want to thank you for being on today. It's inspiring. You're inspiring to listen to, with
Oh,
all that you've done, and just the new course that you've taken, and reinventing yourself or rebranding yourself, however you want to say it. It's just really inspiring.
thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out to me, for being open to this conversation. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and offering value to your clients and your community as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. So I want to thank everyone for listening today. Again, I'm Kimberly Lebbing. I'm a success and mindset coach. Reach out to me if you are struggling in that area. Would love to chat. And that's all we got. So thank you so much again, Dr. Noor, for being on here today. And I will go ahead and end us.